be the second attempt to talk about SHRP. Okay. Now this is due to um, Camtasia just closing on me without me having any warning whatsoever. So I'm assuming I had hit a hotkey or something like that by accident, which is when you're typing, things like that can happen. Okay. Um, but um, my computer does have a habit of, especially when I'm playing like StarCraft 2, that game seems to love to just make my computer just shut off. Okay. And sometimes the post will complete on reboot, and sometimes it doesn't. I have to actually shut off the power supply and clear the capacitors, okay, in order for my BIOS to complete its post. So, so obviously that is a sign of pre-failure. Okay. Also, I had applications, which happened like vSphere, that kept shutting down, and I don't have any recollections of closing it. Like Word would close, my browser would close. Okay, as if someone's actually in my computer and shut things down. But obviously, um, I have too many times had to clear the capacitor just to get the BIOS to initialize. Okay. I'll wake up at night because my computer's on 24/7, and my computer be off. So obviously there's issues there. And if it continues, because I hate re-recording. Okay, I really do. Now normally I hate re-recording because um, normally the second video is worse than the first one. Usually the first one is awesome. Okay, but that this year is actually the opposite. So re-recording is actually a good thing. So my anger towards that having to do that is not there like it used to be. But at the same time, it's time consuming. So first of all, oops, wrong VMware. Now normally I build the actual Visio diagram, okay, in the video. So anytime you actually see, okay, the diagram already built, 9 times out of 10, I'm re-recording. Okay, barely do I actually build it. Okay, without recording it. What happened? Is my caps on? No. There she goes. Okay. We have 3 routers. Okay, so yesterday when I was recording this the first time, a lot of weird things was happening. Okay, and some things I've never even seen a router do before. Okay, and you gotta understand this is 15 years in the making, and that's going to happen. Okay, a message is going to come up. Okay, like when I was running BGP. Okay, and it gave me a message. It's like what the hell is that saying? And really, what it was doing was I was using the neighbor command with the IP address of that particular router. Okay, that's not something I would normally do on a regular basis, so it's not something I would see on a regular basis. So that error message was like, what the hell? So, and really what was weird, okay, was my interface on router 3, G1, could not ping, okay? And when I did a show IP interface brief, it literally said manually down, okay? I've never seen that on a router before. Okay, I've seen administratively down. Okay, I've seen down down. I've seen up up. Okay, but it literally was down down, and it said manually down. I was like, what the hell? So I actually shut down the router, remove the actual network cards, and reinstall them, and then it came up and up. All right, because my configuration was saved, and I was just like, wow, that's just odd. Okay, so I don't know if my computer's inconsistency is causing weird behavior of the VMs, or if CSR has its little bugs, which of course it does. All right, software. Keep in mind, we're always dealing with software because software is on your hardware. So, it is what it is. All right, nothing's perfect. Okay, so now, watching them reboot. Let's go talk about this for a second. Okay, HSRP. This is hot standby router protocol, and I'll usually say hot swappable, but it's again that's my internal brain doing what it does. Okay, so now this is the Cisco proprietary, all right, solution. Now VRRP is an industry standard. That means I can run it on Juniper or any vendor that's out there. Okay, as long as it's supported in their software, which I'm assuming they would. Okay, now the commands are very similar with SHRP and VRRP, so we're not going to cover that. GLBP gives you the ability to load balance, okay, meaning that I can use multiple routers, all right, to send traffic in my hot swappable configuration or standby. I told you. Now, hot standby is literally that. It's a standby router. Okay, we're not going to cover GLBP because obviously we're talking about the basics of getting this set up. So now, um, that means you have one router that's active, sending traffic, and another one just sitting there waiting for the primary to fail so it can send traffic. Okay? Now, if the router 1, which is the primary, okay, fails, all right, router 2 will take over as the active router, okay? If router 1 reboots and comes back up live, by default, it will not take over as a primary again. And if you want that to happen, there is a thing called preamp, okay? And you can set priorities on those particular routers. All right, so what we have here is router 1 and router 2. All right, they're going to be, router 1 is going to be the primary, router 2 is going to be the standby. Okay, and it doesn't matter if router 2 is the primary or router 1 is the standby, it doesn't matter. Okay, but these are the two routers acting in our environment. Okay, the idea is I'm going to set up a virtual IP address. It's going to assign a virtual MAC address. So my default gateway for my device on this segment is going to be the virtual IP address. And the virtual IP address, when you send traffic to that default gateway, is always going to send traffic to the active router. Now, router 1 and 2 in that design must communicate with each other. They must. So whether you're going to have, okay, a direct link across these two routers or in the same broadcast domain, okay, as you can see, these are all in VLAN 1, which these are not real VLANs, okay? These are ESXi VLAN port groups, okay? Or I should say port group names. Now, okay, so that means when router 1 becomes a primary, it knows about the standby. If it does not know about the standby, you have reachability issues between router 1 and 2, and they must communicate because otherwise it's not going to work. Okay? All right? So So all we're going to talk about today is SHRP. Remember, VVRP is pretty much the same commands. Okay, we got it's Cisco proprietary. We have a priority value, meaning that whoever has the highest priority becomes the active router. Okay, the only way for a higher priority to take over the as a primary is to have a preempt statement, which is a command to be put in there. Tracking interfaces means that I can have a interface being or a IP address being tracked. Let's say I'm tracking 8.8.8.8, okay, which is Google's DNS. Right? If I lose as the primary communication with that IP address, it's going to automatically fail over to the other router. Okay? Because that's giving you an indication that your ISP is down. Now, doing tracking where both your routers is going to the same ISP as my routers are, okay, that's kind of pointless. Okay? Alright? But if I had them going to different ISPs, that'll be great. Because when ISP 1 fails, okay, I could pick up, send the primary over to router 2, and the chances of that being down as well is slim. Okay? Alright, so out of breath. So give me a second. So let's go ahead and get this set up. Okay, so first of all, take the caps off. What if the caps roll off? I guess not. Alright, so now, first off, we're going to interface G1, IP address 192.168.1.1. Okay. Oh. Okay, so let's go to router 2 and make that as 1.2. Okay. Do ping 192.168.1.1. Okay, and I know why. There it goes. Okay. All right, so we're good. All right, so now interface G2 IP address. Excuse me. And we're going to do 252. So we're only using 2 addresses. Wow. Give me a second. All right. Okay, router 2. It's going to be 5. Okay, now router 3. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, now router 3. Interface G1 IP address 65.1.1.2. 255, 252. Okay. Do no default interface G2. All right. Okay, interface G2. All right, and this is going to be 6. Okay, so no shut, no shut. Do ping 65.1.1.2. No 1.1.1. Good. And then 1.1.5. Good. Interface loopback 0. IP address 8.8.8.8. Done. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna have an IP or IP route statement for 192. Okay, hang on for a second. How do we want to do this? Because we gotta think about this from a routing perspective. We don't want to have two interfaces in there. Okay. So we gotta think about this because ideally, all right, in production, we would be doing natting on these two routers. Okay. All right. So I got to make sure that. Now here's the thing. SHRP should fix that issue with me, for me. So let's do an IP route 0.0.0 and send that. Okay, so let's send that to G2. Okay. Um, so first of all, let's go to the PC here and let's see if that works. Um, first of all, we have to come back over to here. And send that to this is router to 65.1.1.6. Okay, let's copy this. And that will be 2. Okay, so now let's go to our PC here. Okay, so now let's take a look at our IP configuration. Okay, notice that we have a 1.10 okay, our address, and a 254, which is going to be the virtual IP address of HSRP, okay? But first, let's ping 192.168.1.1. Good. And 1.2. Remember, our first ping fails because of our ARP request. Okay, so now, all right, obviously 254 has not been set up yet. Okay, so that's going to fail. All right, and now let's go ahead and ping. Okay, so we can't send it to the default gateway yet because it's not been set up. So now, let's set up SHRP, and it's very simple. Router 1. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, notice it says redirect. Okay, that's it. We have to do this under the interface though. Okay, so standby, and now you get more options. Okay, we're going to say IP. All right, which we're going to enable SHRP IP version 4 and set the virtual IP address. All right, and we're going to say 192.168. Okay, now while we're doing this, let's bring this over here, and let's do 254. Let's shorten this up. Okay. .1.254. Okay. And we don't need a secondary, and that's it. Okay. We'll see if it becomes reachable. All right. While we're waiting for that, okay, we have some information on standby. Okay. All right. Now it just came up. Okay. So let's watch our pings here. All right. We're still timing out. Okay. Notice that our preempt is disabled. Okay. It gives us our hello times. Okay. As far as saying that my hold time, if my hold time ends up going to 0, okay, this is considered down. Okay. From a perspective of me seeing hellos to my standby router, which is actually unknown because we haven't set it up yet. So now we'll say interface G1 standby IP 192.168.1.254. Okay. Now let's go over here. So standby. Okay, it's still unknown. Give it a minute. Still takes a minute. Now, there it goes. Okay, standby router. Okay, is up and is 1.2. Okay, so this is actually working. Okay, all right, but we get some reachability issues here. So let's go ahead. That's not good. Okay, so now we got to figure out why. Okay. Now I want that to go. All right, so ping 192.168.1.10. Okay, so I'm not able to reach that, but I was able to reach it from here. So we're gonna actually turn off the firewall here. Okay. Not the section I wanted. Still not the section that I wanted. Are you serious? There we go. Okay, that's off. Okay, and now we can ping that actual device. Why I can't ping 254 is beyond me. Let's go back. Let's pause this here for a second. Okay, alright, so let's go ahead. Alright, so now we're going to go over to the routers and see. Okay, it's up, it's working. What is going on here? Alright, let's actually go over here and make sure we can ping. Okay, so that's good. So now we're having a problem with this connection here. So let's go over to here. It's VLAN 1. Okay. Come on. ARP-A. And my ARP is not getting completed. Um, which is kind of weird. So I could ping from the router to the PC. I could ping from the PC to the router. Okay. But my routers can ping the 254, but this cannot. Okay, so let's actually do this. Okay. Alright, and now 254 is in there. Isn't that funny? And it even has a MAC address in there. Okay, so this is not going to work. So you know what? We're going to do this a different way. Okay? Close this. We're going to bring up router 4. Okay, and we're going to put router 4 in its place. Okay, and we're going to close. Wait for router 4 to boot. Yeah, like I said, my VMs and my computer just does weird stuff. It is what it is. We just got to deal with it. Oh, let's go up here and let's change this to VLAN 1. Okay, so now I'm going to actually turn off routing. So um, this is nothing but a host. Platform cannot disable. Okay, so we're good. Um, so interface G1 IP address 192.168. No, 1.10. All right, no shut. Do ping 192.168.1.1. Okay. All right. So I know what this problem is. Most likely, power off. We gotta wait for it to reboot again. Okay, so all right, and interface G1, no shut, IP address 192.168.1.10. Okay, good, good. Okay, all right, and do ping. First of all, IP route. Okay, and then I'm going to say default. Not good. Okay, not good at all. Why is this not working? And it pulled the MAC address. Wait a minute. Why is it not pinging? Because it should be. Because if I can't ping default gateway, I definitely can't ping 8.8.8.8. Okay? Not behavior that it should be doing. Alright, give me a second. Okay. So, um, when SHRP cannot ping the standby IP address, it is usually due to improper layer 2, layer 3 adjacency, mismatch, configuration, or asymmetric routing, particularly in virtual PC environments. So, I'm going to call this a failure. Okay? We're going to have to use um, real routers for this demonstration. Okay? So that's pretty much it. And I will see you guys on the next one.